Starting with a bitter truth, 99% of people will never escape the middle class trap and actually become rich. And you might already feel it happening. No matter how hard you work, you are stuck in the same spot year after year. You cut back on your cappuccino, follow budgeting hacks, maybe even hustle on the side, but still nothing changes. But here's the good news. Accepting this truth is the first step to breaking free. And that is exactly what this video is about. My name is Author Syed, and I am going to break down 7 brutal reasons why the middle class stays trapped and how you can finally escape. So you stop spinning your wheels, start building real wealth, and never get caught in the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle again. The education failure. Schooling is important, but that is also what is holding you back. Just think about it. We spent 15 years in schooling, learning languages, basic math, and all those subjects. But did anyone ever teach us about money? Did they teach us how to make decisions? Or start a business? Absolutely not. Instead, what schools really taught us was obedience. We learned to sit quietly, follow instructions, and do exactly what we're told. And that is great if you want to be an employee forever, but terrible if you want to be financially free. The whole system sells us this lie that if we study hard for 15 years, then get a professional degree, we will magically become rich. And the majority, the middle class, just kept believing this without a second thought. But look around, how many people do you know who follow this exact path and are still struggling financially? Even worse, school teaches us to be scared of taking risks. Remember how terrified we were on making mistakes on exams. We either have to be damn right or we just can't step into it. This is how our psychology has been designed, and that same fear follows us into adult life. I call comfort zone fatigue. We become so afraid of failing that we never try anything new. But if you want real wealth, you have to start something. You have to take risks. You have to learn skills that actually matters, like investing, business, and marketing. And no school ever teaches you that skills. So schooling is fine, but stop making the Bible of your life. Generational wealth mindset. This next one might sting you a bit directly, but take it like a pill. Most of us inherited a poverty mindset from our parents without even realizing it. I'm not blaming them. They did their best with that they knew. But think about messages you heard growing up. We don't have money. We are not the type of people who become successful. We should be grateful for what we have. Don't aim too high. Sounds familiar? These beliefs get so deep into our minds that even when we start earning, we either hold on to money too tightly or spend it all immediately. We are either terrified of losing it or we feel guilty for having it. I remember my friend telling me how his parents would always say they were broke, even when they had enough. We grew up thinking his family was poor, and it took him years to realize they were actually middle class. But that scarcity mindset stuck with him. On the other hand, the wealthy think differently. They know that where you start does not define where you finish. They wake up early morning asking themselves what difficult things they can do today that will change their life. They are physically comfortable, but mentally always pushing themselves. But the problem of middle class people is they love comfort, while rich people love growth. Hard work trap. This might be the most controversial fact I am going to share. We have been told our whole life that hard work is everything. But look around. Do you see lazy, rich people and hardworking, poor people? Of course, you do. In fact, that is the majority. The difference is not how hard someone works. It's whether they use leverage. Let me explain what I mean. If someone invests money in your business, that is capital leverage. If you learn a skill like a video editing or content creation, that is skill leverage. If you read books and apply that knowledge repeatedly, that is knowledge leverage. But a job, that is not a leverage. A job is where you trade time for money, and there is a limit to how much time you have. But skills and knowledge can work for you even when you are sleeping. Take reading, for example. You cannot just read a book once and expect to become an expert. You have to read it multiple times, apply what you learn, make mistakes, and learn from those mistakes. That is when knowledge becomes leverage. The cheapest and most powerful leverage you can get is knowledge. Anyone can access it, but the middle class just keep doing their jobs instead of focusing on gathering knowledge. Skills versus value. This next point confuses many people. So let me clarify it first. We don't get paid for our skills. We get paid for the value we create. Let me give you an example. Say you are a video editor. In a regular office job, you might make $10,000 a month. But if you use the exact same skills for a content creator or in the entertainment industry, you could make 5 times that amount. Same skills, completely different values. The rich mindset always asks, where can I create the maximum value? But the middle class mindset asks, where can I get a job with my degree? Notice the difference? That is why so many educated people cannot find a good job. They are chasing degree instead of chasing value creation. But if you can't solve a big problem or create something people really want, you will make money regardless of what degree you have. Taking shortcuts. This might be hard to accept, but it is true. Most people in the middle class love chasing shortcuts, and sometimes that works. But when it comes to building wealth, shortcut can be dangerous. Think about business. The middle class mindset says, let's launch a side hustle, grab cheap products from Alibaba, slap a logo on them, run a couple of Facebook or TikTok ads, sell fast and make quick money. It might work for a few sales, but once customers sees poor quality, no real brand behind it, they are gone. Even if the product is good, the business usually hits a ceiling because it was built only for short-term wins. Now, does that mean wealthy people never use shortcuts? Not really. They do, but with a different intention. First, they ask, what is the fastest and cheapest way to test if this idea actually works? So instead of cutting corners, they might launch a small Shopify store with professional designs, use targeted ads, and test if customer truly wants the product. If it works, they double down. If it doesn't, they pivot quickly without burning their reputation. See the difference? One approach is about chasing fast cash. The other is about learning quickly without destroying future opportunities. Decisions based on emotions. Now, this is probably the biggest trap that middle-class Americans stuck forever: emotion. Suppose a neighbor buys a brand new Tesla, so you feel like you need one too, but you did not think about making payments for the next 7 years. You just want to show people that you are successful too. And it does not stop there. Many families spend tens of thousands of dollars on weddings, sweet 16s, of lavish graduation parties. Sometimes they even take out loans just to impress others for one day. Now think about it. Taking a home loan or a student loan can make sense, but how rational is it to take one massive debt for a party that people will forget in a week? You might say, but even Jeff Bezos throws huge parties. Sure, but for him, that is a tiny fraction of his wealth. That is how the rich operate. So before you make these choices, ask yourself, how logical is this decision and how much of it is based on emotions? If answer leans too much on emotion, stop yourself before it traps you. The debt trap. Now, finally, we will talk about something so important that is probably one of the biggest wealth killer in America: debt. Most middle-class families don't even realize it, but debt quality locks them into paycheck-to-paycheck cycle for decades. How? The quick answer is the deadly cycle of interest. Take the American dream of buying a home, for example. Let's say you get a $400,000 of mortgage at 6.5% interest for 30 years. Sounds reasonable. But by the end of that loan, you will have paid almost $900,000 total. That is more than the double the house price. And for the first 10 years, almost all of your monthly payment is just interest. So while you think you're building equity, in reality, you are just paying the bank first, because those interests will always keep you broke. Now, let us add a car loan. The average new car price in the US is around $48,000. With a 6-year loan at 7% interest, you will pay back about $58,000 total. Meanwhile, the car itself loses 20% of the value the moment you drive it off the lot. And by the time the loan is done, your car might be worth only $15,000 to $20,000. So you're basically borrowed money to buy something that loses value faster than you can pay it off. And then comes the most dangerous one: credit cards. Middle-class Americans simply love to swipe them for vacations, furniture, or emergencies. and anything. The average American household carries around $7,000 in credit card debt. Now, just think about it. The average interest rate is about 24% per year on credit cards. At that rate, if you only make a minimum payments, it can take you more than 20 years to pay off a $7,000 balance, and you will end up paying over $20,000 total. That is compounding in reverse. Instead of compounding your wealth, you are compounding your debt. But here is the important difference you will see. Wealthy people also take loans. Yes, they do, but only they use good debt. They ask, will this loan create cash flow or grow my wealth? For example, they always take a loan to buy a rental property that generates passive income or to invest in a business that makes more than the loan interest. So their debt pays them back. On the other hand, middle class debt just drains them for life. So the next time you think it is just a small monthly payment, I can afford it, stop and think, is this debt creating an asset that grows in value or a liability that locks me down? It will help you say no to interest, because the truth is, the middle class does not stay stuck because they don't earn enough. They stuck because they are slaves to debt that feels affordable today but costs a fortune tomorrow. One of the biggest and the most concerning problem is credit cards. How credit cards are quietly draining your wealth and keeping you from ever getting rich is a story you don't want to miss. But that discussion needs another full-length video with complete analysis. If you want that, wait for my next upload and subscribe to this channel to follow my work.